Hello and welcome this beautiful Friday morning to Market Insights. I am Lavina Emma. On Market Insights, we bring you stock market analysis, commodities and currency markets updates. So this week, we discussed issues affecting the commodity markets, starting with the hike in the price of grains and other essential commodities such as rice, maize, millet, wheat, and garri, and also the president addressing the hike in the price of grains with an immediate solution, and also the potential of renewable energy and how it can solve the unstable electricity supply in Nigeria, and how the stable electricity supply will be effective in making Nigeria self-sufficient in food production, which will hopefully lead to Nigeria being a major food exporter and increase the contribution of agriculture to the country's GDP. And this will help the economy not to be over-dependent on petroleum exportation. So today, I will be discussing the week in review with my guests. So my guest for today's show is Mr. Charles Fakrogha, a stockbroker with over 20 years experience and an authorized dealing clerk. Welcome to the show, Mr. Fakrogha.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, so this week I will be discussing everything we talked about this week, everything happening in the Nigeria's commodities markets and how it's affecting people in the country. But before we get right into that, let's talk about the stock market. Now, how did the stocks fare on Wednesday and Thursday?
Yes, well, if you look at the market for review for this week, on Monday, the market opened positive. On Tuesday, it went negative. Wednesday, it became positive. And of course, yesterday it was also positive. So again, for us in the market is just a dynamics of demand and supply. And of course, we are seeing some of the numbers that are coming to the market, and investors are reacting to some of those things that are happening in the general economy and positioning themselves to see that they take advantage of their buying and their selling. So everybody has his own strategy. Some people are buying, some people are selling.
Okay, and also we want to talk about the top gainers this week and the top losers this week also.
Yes, if you look at one of the days, I think specifically it was a Wednesday, Boa Cement was among the top gainers. And you can see Boa Cement is one of the leaders in their industry. And when you see such high cap stock increasing or having a gain on a particular day, obviously it might really affect the performance of the market for that day. But like we said, it does not mean that because a particular stock was on the gainers list, that means that stock is doing better than every other stock, that's on the losers list. It is just that frequent buying and selling. The prices are meant to go up, come down. So on a daily basis, we see all that happening. So, I mean, you can see in a particular day, a particular security can gain up to 10%. The next day, that same security is losing 10%. You see it on the losers chart. So, and that is why we have people that are called day traders. They look at what is happening in the market on a daily basis and begin to take informed decisions. But my advice has always been to every trader, you look at the market very well. You must have your own plan. You don't just follow what every other person is doing. And I must say, when you see the big institutional investors, those ones, they can employ experts to really monitor the market for them. But you as a retail investor, what you do is to do your own little homework. At the same time, talk to your stockbroker and you ask, okay, this company I want to invest in, are they meeting my investment philosophy?
Yes.
Some persons are investing for dividend. Some are investing for price appreciation. They want to see the price going up. So, but you must have a plan. And it is when you carry out that plan in the market that you'll be satisfied. So don't say because you come to the market today and a price of a particular security is going up, you want to follow other people to buy that stock. So merely you buy, what happens if that stock starts coming down? So you just have to have your own plan and say, okay, I am going to the market. I'm talking of what we brokers do as in our proprietary trade. Our proprietary trade is our box, our portfolio. Because each stockbroking firm, if you're a dealer, you are expected to have your own box where you trade from. So we have experts They will do all the meetings finish and say, okay, this is what we are going to do. We are taking position in this particular stock. We are selling this one off, and they go to the market. The trader goes there and executes. Okay?
Yes, but the most important person in the stock market trading, I think, is you brokers. Because,
no, I wouldn't agree.
If we have to get advice, if I want to deal in stocks, for example, I have to get advice from you as my stockbroker, and then I can go ahead to start trading. But if I don't get any good news from you or any feedback as to what stocks to buy, and I just go in, blindfolded, I mean, I'm going to be at a loss at the end of the day.
No, look at it this way. We keep saying the investor is still the king in the market. The investor is still, just like the customer, okay? Yes, you can take advice from your broker, but at the end of the day, it is the investor that takes the decision. I can't take a decision for you. It is until you have given me a mandate that, broker, please, yes, from the explanation, I think I would like to buy X shares in X company. You will put it in writing, in mandate, or that you send it by email, text message, or whatever means. Okay. And yes, there must be a mandate from you.
Yes.
And when I get that mandate, of course.
So this is like an instruction.
Yes, you must give an instruction that buy this, sell this, and I go in there and I execute for you. However, there are some investors too who claim to be, or let me don't say claim, they are sophisticated. There are apps we can give them that arrangement. They have access to the markets, but they will be doing it through their broker. So you can be in the comfort of your home and you send your order. The order gets to the broker's portal, he sees it, and he confirms from his or her compliance that this is a valid mandate. He okays it, he goes to the market and it is executed, whether a purchase or a sale. So you can see that the market is so dynamic that we have made it so open to, even from your village, you can trade. Okay, as we speak today, trading is going on. Some brokers are in their offices trading, some are on the floor trading, some are also in their villages trading.
I think this is due to the advancements in technology.
Exactly.
So it has made this very easy.
Yeah, the capital market is taking advantage of that technology.
Okay, this is excellent actually. So now we're going forward as to how we know how we're faring, how the markets fared this week in terms of the top gainers and the top losers actually. And we also know that we need to actually take advice from our stockbrokers before we make any deals on the trading floor. Okay, so back to the week in review. We want to talk about how the week fared in the commodities markets. We also want to discuss how the prices in the grains market, how everything increased this week, from wheat, gari, millet, rice, how because of this hike in the price of grains, some traders were also hoarding their food items. So it was a bit difficult for people to feed during the week. And due to that, I'm sure you also noticed that there were protests taking place in different states in the country because of this. But luckily for us, we have a current president who looked into this matter and decided that he was going to tell the Association of Rice Millers to actually release storage from their storage reserve, and also tell the government storage reserve to also release the grains they had there. So in total, the president ordered the release of 102,000 metric tons of grains. So I believe from what you've observed that this can provide an immediate solution to what's going on the economy. But how would this provide a more permanent solution going forward actually? Because
yes, if you look at the commodities market, you've mentioned grain, you mentioned millets, you mentioned rice, and so many other staple, let me call it staple food produce that the average Nigerian wants to consume on a daily basis. And yes, I agree with you when you say the president is a caring president, but as we speak, he's already in the Addis Ababa, where he has given some...
well, he has given out directives to his ministers.
Release grain from the strategic reserves and all that. You see, I don't want to be political. We are not doing politics again.
No, we're not. No.
I want him to ensure that, yes, he has given the order. Let this order be carried out. This is not the first time the president is giving a directive and we don't see it happening. Fine, he has also directed the National Security Advisor and the Federal General of Police and other security chiefs to ensure that this is carried out. Fine, that is good. Now, if you recall that in one of his speeches, he said food security is now under the purview of national security. Because when a nation cannot feed itself, then it's a problem.
Exactly.
You mentioned you saw some pockets of protest here and there and all that. It is just the beginning, because an hungry man is an angry man.
Yes.
So we know what the president has done, but again, we want to let this president know that the issues on ground did not start today.
No,
yes, I agree that food is in Nigeria, is a matter of distribution. Like you have said, some persons are hoarding here and there and all that because they want to make a profit. I believe that we don't have sufficient production. Because if you have sufficient production, you can be Charles. I can carry and go and hide 50 bags of rice in my village. If there is enough production from other producers, then my own will just remain there. But it's because the supply is not enough. That is why people can hoard. And that's why we are seeing that impact. If there is enough production flooding the market, then we won't be talking of this. I mean, look at the states in the north where the governor is saying, if persons have come to buy bulk, don't sell to them. If we have enough supply, you sell to bulk to them, they take, and there is enough. But the supply is not enough. That is why we are having this food crisis. So, President talking of we have to go back to agriculture. But when they say going back to agriculture, to see that we have enough of this supply, it is beyond using hoe and cutlass. We have to really get into mechanized farming. And it is not rocket science. A nation that cannot feed itself cannot call itself a nation. So yes, we have seen all these issues, and of course the Bureau of Statistics have told us how inflation is already almost 30%.
Yes, 29.9%.
And all that. And of course,
high.
that is going to affect the prices of other essential commodities in the country today. So the president has to ensure that all directives he has given are carried out.
Yes, as you mentioned, Mr. Charles, the inflation right now is 29.9% in the country. We know with this hike in our cost of living, everybody is affected, whether you're a businessman, whether you're a trader, whether you are working as a government official, everybody is affected. But what, going forward, we also listened, I have to take you back to that, to the speech by the Central Bank of Nigeria governor, where he said it's possible to reduce inflation. And at the moment, it seems to just be spiraling out of control at 29.9%, and this is February. So that means by the time we get to May, we're looking at a higher figure. Now, how do we actually remedy this? Is there a way to actually reduce inflation? I mean, I'm asking from your opinion as a stock market and commodities market analyst.
Okay, let's look at it this way. You see, the economy is not one sector. We have the economy as a whole. And there are certain factors that every economic manager will be looking at. One, interest rates. Two, inflation rates. Then, of course, the exchange rates. Now, as an economic manager, the way and manner you are able to, well, I wouldn't say manage these rates, go a long way in the economy. Inflation rate is going up.
Yes.
Now, CBN will say they are having their APC meeting, maybe towards the end of this month. They want to increase that rate to meet up inflation rate. Then that means exchange rates, MPR is now being increased. Yes. And when you increase MPR, you're already killing SMEs. So you can see that when you take this action, it's affecting these other sectors of the economy. So there has to be a holistic approach when it comes to managing the economy. Inflation rate cannot just come down overnight.
No.
And what we need to do, what is fueling this inflation? Some people have told us we have excess supply of money because of the printing of ways and means. But for me, I will not go to that route. I believe that our inflation is being fueled by the cost of inputs. People who are going to produce, there is no power. Cost of the raw material has gone up. So by the time they finish producing, of course, they want to make a margin and make and stay sustainable. Then you have to increase the price of their goods. So for me, it's a cost push inflation that we are actually seeing. However, we could also have a lot of monies in circulation, but the purchasing power of the average Nigerian has already gone down. So people cannot even buy this food item in the market. So yes, we have to handle the issue of power. We have to, in fact, our lifestyle The government cannot tell us they want to fight inflation, you want the economy to be okay, when their lifestyle is not showing towards that direction.
Yes, that's true.
We need to cut down the cost of governance. It is not at this time National Assembly will say they want to build a car park. You already have a car park. So why do that? This is not the time, because we know that we are in difficult times. So they also have to adjust. And of course, I know the average Nigerian is ready to adjust and ensure that we bring back this economy to where it wants to be. The government is telling you of tackling issues in the economy. Look at what has happened to custom duty, the rates in which the import duty that you pay. So as an importer, you're going to be paying so much money to clear your goods. And you are going to sell these goods in the Nigerian market. Of course, you're going to increase the prices of these commodities. So you can see that it can go on and on and on. The government has to look at the economy holistically before we can begin to see meaningful improvement. As for the inflation, yes, if we increase our production and the government, not only government, all of us, we change our lifestyle, reduce our dependence on foreign things so that the pressure on the naira will come down, we can begin to see a bit of stability. That is when I think inflation rate can begin to come down.
And hopefully this might happen soon. But there was something you pointed out there with power, actually. And we all know power, we need that all over the country to aid our food production, to also increase our food production. And during the week, the president also made mention of how he will want Nigerians to become self-sufficient in food production. And we know power is really one of the most important factors in this area. So how do we actually achieve this? We actually, during the week, I discussed how we could tap into our renewable energy potential in Nigeria to actually improve on our power supply, to make it more stable. But looking at it from your own perspective, how do we actually, because we know, yes, we have some people are using different means of more suitable power means, like solar energy is very popular here, but we know it's quite expensive. You can't see that in the rural areas. It's mostly used in the urban areas. But we know industries, like people who are making things in wholesale, they actually, manufacturers actually have more renewable sources of energy. But how can they tap into this to benefit our food production and increase it in the country?
Well, let me even take you a little back. You see, power issue, we have come a long way, you know, and there are so many reforms in the power sector, and yet we are not even seeing any meaningful impact to the average Nigerian. Now, the Minister of Power, I don't envy him. He said power, there is subsidy on power, that the budget, they have only 450 billion, and we needed to pay about 3-point-something trillion, you know, for that power. And I'm asking myself, how does that make sense to the average woman who lives somewhere in Okoko, in a one-bedroom and in a one-room apartment with 5 children? How does it affect Chukudi, who lives somewhere in Okota, in a maybe 2-bedroom apartment with his wife and 3 children? He sees the increase in the electricity bill that comes to him, and the Minister of Power is telling us that government is still subsidizing power. Fine, the average Nigerian is not interested in those economics. They want to see that the power they are consuming, that is what they pay for. Before you can actually look at power in itself, the issue of generation of this power, the transmission of this power, the distribution, and of course the consumption. For you to know what we consume, how up till today in Lagos, let me don't even go to other rural areas, some persons still get crazy bill, estimated bill.
Yes, that
These
has been an issue.
have not been metered. So how can you know, how can an household know the amount of power he or she or that household has consumed? That is one. So for me to address power, it is not just jumping and running to renewables. Renewables have always been there. Today, some persons even say the national grid is an alternative to them. They have their own power. Yes,
yes.
they have their own power.
In Oloibiri, in Bayelsa State, there is actually a hybrid grid that has been created, but this was in partnership with the oil community, oil industry there, to actually create an alternative so that they won't be on the national grid. And I think, yes, for a petrol refining industry, yes, that is achievable. And also in Nasarawa State, they also have their own mini grid there. So some communities in partnership with foreign investors have been able to create their own power.
Yes, thank God. It's a legal backing. There's a law backing it now.
Yes.
President have said, yes, they have signed the Electricity Act 2023, it's already it's a law now, and state government can also, not only state government, even individuals, investors, you can generate your own power. The nitty-gritties of that is a story for another day. Yes, we can use renewable solar energy. If you even go to some estate today, even in Lagos, most people have started resorting to solar energy.
Yes.
Probably maybe not to power everything, but at least for their lights and for other electrical appliances, they manage and all that. I will even tell you a short story. Even in the rural area, there was a project I was involved in, water project. To power that water project, it was solar that we used. So what happened? There is enough sun in the daytime. We conserve, and it powers. So there is no need for us going to buy PMS, that's petrol now, to power that water project. So you can see that yes, Nigeria is already transiting. Already, if you look at the effects on the environment of this fossil fuel, it has a negative impact. But like I said, anything about change will not be overnight. We are transiting, and we're looking for alternative, cleaner energy, and that is also very good. But again, the Nigerian government, through the power ministry, should be serious when it comes to power. Our grid cannot be collapsing on a daily basis. And what explanation are you giving to the public? And no nation can develop industrially when your power base has issue. There is no amount of discussion, no amount of talking that will change it. We just need to go into action. And if we cannot do it, there is nothing wrong to partner with foreign investors to come to this country and see how we can take care of our power industry. In fact, I was so harsh and hard on the power minister when about a week ago or so, when they say the national grid collapsed. I said, if I was him, I would have resigned.
yes, because it's been happening one too many times.
One too many times. So the government don't know what we are doing, So again, yes, for power, the government, in fact, I hope they have declared a state of emergency on the power sector.
Well, I am hopeful that it will definitely get better, and considering what the president also said, that he wants to actually invest heavily in agriculture to ensure that Nigeria can sufficiently feed itself. So that means we're going to have a major mechanized farming improvements with, I believe, the implementation of more tools, like more tractors, to aid farmers in rural communities, to assist to make food production an all-year-round thing, to ensure that our crops are harvested all year round, which also means that we're going to have more improved irrigation system of farming to actually aid this self-sufficiency in food production, and ultimately to also make us a major exporter of food. Now, Mr. Charles, do you believe that, yes, I know from the stockbroker's point of view, you've seen a lot of food manufacturing industries that are trading in the stocks and also doing well, some days doing well, some days not so doing well. But if we actually invest heavily in our food production sector, I believe that we can actually, this can be achieved. Nigeria can become a major food producer, exporter also to other countries in the world. Well,
yes, I agree with you. We can achieve it because you know that even before our independence and even after independence, agriculture was our mainstay in our economy.
So with improved agricultural practices, we know this can be achieved. We also know we have some major food industries trading on the floor of the stocks. Some days they could be trading up, some days they could be trading down. But we know that if food production is heavily invested in and heavily mechanized, this can actually, Nigeria becoming a major food exporter can be achieved. Your thoughts, Mr. Charles?
Yes, like I said, any nation that cannot feed itself cannot stand in the Committee of Nations. First of all, we need to produce, at least to feed ourselves. But you will notice that, like I was saying, even before independence, agriculture was our mainstay in the economy. Even after independence, we had the days of where cocoa, was one of our major foreign exchange earners. We also have the granules pyramid. Yes. We also have the oil palm, you know, and we were really looking at agriculture. But unfortunately, we didn't pay attention to it. And when, of course, they say, well, the oil boom, maybe was it a curse or a blessing? We left agriculture, and today, I will tell you, if you go to rural areas today, you don't see young men who are incentivized to go to the farm. And like you have mentioned, there are some few of these companies that are traded on the stock exchange, yes. Where the likes of Bua Food, yes. Where the likes of course, maybe Unilever, these are some of them agri-allied, you know, they get raw material from the farm and they add value to the process and all that. Now, like you have said, for Nigeria to achieve food production, yes. Sustainable food production, we need to go back to agriculture. And all the factors are there. We have arable lands. You know, I say this all the time. My grandmother in the village does not need fertilizer to plant a cassava on a year-on-year basis. She knows when to go and till the land. She knows when to plant. And she knows how often to go and look at her farm. Then she knows when she will harvest. And of course, when she harvests, usually cassava. When she harvests, she knows how many cassava she will uproot, the number of quantity of gari it will give to her. That local technology is already in her head. But today, she's growing old.
Yes.
And she's going to die one day. What happened? The youths are no longer taken to agriculture. So the government must have a deliberate policy to incentivize the youth to go into agriculture. And today I will tell you that farmers are supposed to be one of the richest people in Nigeria. Today, Dangote is also a farmer.
Yes, I
know
that.
He's a farmer. He's one of the richest in Africa. So what are we talking about? So we need to encourage more people to go into agriculture. That is one. Then the research institute. In fact, I don't think there is virtually all the universities in Nigeria today may have a faculty of agriculture.
They do.
Or a institute of agriculture, I don't know what they call it.
No, it's called the faculty of agriculture. Yes.
Okay. What are their research findings? There must be a collaboration between the academia and the industry to see that they research enough to see that we have, if the farmers are having problem in terms of pest and weed, what is the variety of seeds that has been improved upon that could withstand some of those pests that will affect the produce of the farmer. Research has to be done very well. Then there are specialized agricultural agencies, specialized one. Yes. What are they doing? Because again, somebody has said it's not just only about just producing. During harvest, you have this produce everywhere. Storage facility is also a big problem. We need to have storage, especially for perishable products. In fact, if you go to some places, when they harvest tomatoes will just all over the place. And the farmers will not get appropriate pricing for their products or their produce. So storage facility is also key when it comes to sustainable food production. Then all year-round farming, irrigation scheme, and all these things have been there in the country before. These are not new things, but we just need to improve on the technology. If you ask me, I don't even know the name of the Minister of Agriculture. That is the truth. And we're only looking at federal. What happens to the state? The state government too, they also have commissioners of agriculture. Yes, when we go back to the local government, we also have maybe SA agriculture and all that. So, or livestock production and all that. So everybody needs to be at work. We need to be intentional about, because agriculture is key. We need to feed ourselves, like you have said, feeding ourselves, sustainable agriculture, and also begin to export so that we can also earn foreign exchange from our hard work.
Okay, there was something that was, let me just take you back on this, something that was created in states called the ADP. It was created to address by the local government areas in a few states to address interactions with the grassroots farmers, actually. So now these ADPs interact with the farmers to find out their needs in terms of crop production, how they can farm all and harvest all year round, and how they can also prevent incidents like termites and other insects attacking the crop. So yes, states also do have their own contributions to this. This is not just the federal government. So I was just trying to point that out to you, that it's not just the federal government alone. States also have their own developments in this matter too. They've also been doing this. But with food production going through some hitches this year in the country, we've experienced this. We want to we believe that the president's speech, or rather his directive on how we can mechanize farming, how we can have more tractors being put on farmlands all over the country, we believe that this would actually lead to a more sustainable food production in the country, and issues of hoarding with traders or hiking prices of grains will not be happening that often. So that being said, Mr. Charles, we also want to talk more about the cost of living in the country. Yes, you discussed inflation. We know it's been going up, but we know as a stockbroker and an analyst, we also want to explain further on this matter of food production and inflation. Nigerians have been complaining every day. Like these days, there was something I saw on the internet. You go to the market, and then maybe on Monday the price of an item was a particular figure, and then you're going there on Wednesday, and then they tell you, oh no, it's 3 times that price, and then you express shock, like, wow. But after expressing shock, you open your bag and then you still pay for the item and take it home. So, I mean, like, we all know that this has been happening, but how can this just, if we were to proffer a more practical solution to this in terms of food production, how do we actually, and this high inflation that keeps going up, because it's really affecting people in the country?
We have said here, what is the cause of this inflation, or this food issue and all that? When you don't have enough supply, prices are bound to go up. That is obvious. And some persons will say insecurity was also a problem, or is still a problem, that people cannot go to their farms again and all that. Because we know that some certain states in the country today, I was opportune to visit Benue State, the food basket, and I went around the states. I think about 21 or 23 local government of Benue State. We went around and all that, and I could see that yes, Benue State alone can feed Nigeria. Yes, I never knew that Benue State also had rice. Yes, that they can plant. I never knew. I saw that. Then, of course, a lot of yams, a lot of other produce. That is just there, in terms of agriculture. And their climate, the soil is very suitable for agriculture. Yes, but they will tell you insecurity. And I'm happy the president's speech before he went for that Addis Ababa meeting. He also said he has agreed state police, and of course the state government can also train the forest rangers, agro rangers, to protect our forest so that farmers will be comfortable going to the farms. Yes. Now, these are some of the practical steps that can be taken to ensure that we go back to the farm. But I'm now saying people who are in the cities too. You are in the city, you have maybe a small land close to you or in your compound. Even if you are not the landlord will not disturb you if you just have a small garden and you plant some vegetables. So that, because it's not everything you now be going to the market. I know growing up in Lagos as a child, we had spaces like that you could plant bitter leaf, you could plant ugu leaf. Some of those things, and at times I remember vividly that our mothers don't even go to the market to buy those things. When they want to cook, they just go to the garden there, or just your backyard, you have some of those things, and you just get. So all these are stopped in Lagos. You don't see any meaningful space again. Everywhere is jam-packed, So we cannot continue to live like this. And that is why we all need to go back. The government supports from the local government, and see that agriculture is given its rightful place in the country. I know that there are other sectors in the economy that we can also develop to improve this Nigerian economy. But first of all, we must take care of, stomach infrastructure. We must take care of it very well first. Well, like I said earlier here, an hungry man is an hungry man. So we need to ensure that food security is something we can achieve in the country today with the determination of the federal, state, and local government, and of course, all Nigerians ensuring that we do our own part. Before I even forget, we talk of fertilizer. Yes, we can see all the scam going on with fertilizer. But thank God, the government is doing all they can to ensure that fertilizer gets to the rightful farmers so that they can use it, an input, use it to improve in their production. They want to achieve optimal yield per hectare of land. That is the essence, and that is why we have research in agriculture to tell the farmers how can you make use of this small land to produce as many harvests that is possible. We don't have all the land, limited land any longer again. In the past, yes, our fathers and grandfathers, they have arable land all over the place, and they can live after planting in this particular place. They leave it, they go to another place. We call that the shifting cultivation. But now, maybe because of development, we cannot do that. So, and thank God there are scientifically proven methods of farming that we can use to improve our yield per hectare of land. So we will now begin to explore it, and everybody, in fact, government should encourage people to go back to the farm, of course, by providing security for them, and we will see an improvement in our production. First of all, let's talk about how to feed ourselves first. Then maybe after that, we can now begin to see how we can export to earn foreign exchange for ourselves.